Folks, it's time to suit up again for another episode of the Soul Sessions. But first of all, I got to welcome you to the good times. Meet your new best friend, Mr. Manoval. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. Delighted to be here.
Hey, an absolute pleasure. But what I love to do with every guest, Manoval, every guest has a story and every story has a beginning. I want to know, how did your story begin as a wrestling fan?
Oh, I must have been about 4 or 5 years old. Typical story it might be with having older brothers and their friends like kicking about, and like my brother's 5 years older than me, and he was like mad into it. So the first, I'll tell you the first thing I remember about wrestling was the 1992 Rumble, and I want to say Ric Flair won it.
Yeah, that was when he debuted as well. So it's kind of a
So
historic one.
1992, and then after that, uh, and when I say that, it was like the VHS tapes. That's what I kind of remember about them. So it was 4 or 5. There was that there, and then the next sort of core memory that I've got is a Survivor Series with the Gobbledygooker. I remember watching that like so much, and like as much as like as you get older, everyone's like, "Oh my god, the Gobbledygooker thing was amazing." I've only learned about that like well in my late teens, but like young 5, 6 year old Jamie was like, "This is the best." Like this, there's a giant egg and then it hatches. This is brilliant. So yeah, that's where I started. It was my older brother. He had videos kicking about for like way before DVDs and all that, and used to just watch them. And then I was very fortunate. We had Sky, and so I was able to watch like Raw as I was probably a bit young, like I was definitely like 7, 8 years old watching Raw at like 10 o'clock at night, and that was like the era of puppies and all of that jazz, and I was just like, yeah, puppies. Why do they keep calling it puppies? Like what?
It's an American thing. I think it's a Yank thing. They call it.
Yeah, it was just like I didn't understand it at the time, but I was like, this is amazing. So like, yeah, that's where I grew up with like Raw Attitude Era, but just coming out of like the era before. I don't know what even you call that era.
The kind of new generation era when they kind of had
There you
like
go. New Gen. It was like
Lethal
the tail
Man.
end of that
Yeah, it's
and
a
going into
very
that.
it's a very good era as well. And I feel like with that acted era, obviously, I'm not going to show my age here, but I was not in existence at that point. I was still
Yeah.
in the ether at that point.
Hmm.
And look, fans going about it and say about it, it was such a very special time. And I think one of the things that make that so special is there was no like social media, there was no instant news 100%. I wonder for yourself, my friend, going back in that era, do you think the fact that the technology at the time wasn't so advanced with Facebook, Bebo, good shout for that, Twitter, and all that jazz? Do you think that makes that era so much more special with how, well, I guess the way to say it, raw it was?
I think I do. Like I generally so a little bit of insight into me as a person. I run a digital marketing company, and I want like can see the pros and cons. And as much as I can be like, hey, look, this is all the things it can be great about it, and how to make it work for yourself. I also think there's entertainment in what you don't know. And that is what I loved about that era. Well, I say I loved about it. I didn't know it then, but to go back to like that weekly television, like you didn't know what was going to happen, and you weren't going to get like dirt shit. You could, but I was too young to really know. The internet wasn't even about then. Like that came. I say it came about. It was in its infancy, but it didn't start, or I wasn't really aware of it until I was about 11. Like that's when I sort of like played about and then saw people like going into like AOL chat rooms and all the rest of that. But I think there's something nice. Do I think it would be? Do I think it's better? I think there's something to be said about letting the story play out for itself, not letting people's personal opinions of like the wrestlers' personalities get in the way sometimes. Where it's like, I mean, Twitter is an absolute like it's a dog fire, like, or X, sorry, X, and like I do see people's judgments being clouded or listening to certain influencers and going like, if it's their opinion, then it must be my opinion as well. When before it would be like, you'd watch it, you'd have your own thoughts, you'd talk to your friends about it, and it was great fun. Now, I do think. What do I think? I do think people have taken it. There are pockets of people. You can't speak generally. There are pockets of people who take it very, very seriously. And whilst I think take the business seriously when you are a wrestler or part of it in like terms of like your product, your brand, and presenting that, at the same time, it's meant to be fun. Like, and there's a lot of people that kind of soak the fun out of it, and I'm not here for that. And that's something I do like about the olden days in general. I take that from music and film and all of that as well. Although I would say that the internet and social media has been, mm, there's always pros and cons, but I do think like I do remember going back to 2001, 2002, and being able to hear like different bands and all the rest of it, and being like, if you like that, I mean, I could go, what was it? I want to call it like Punktastic or something like that, or someone can remind those sort of sites where you could like listen to one thing and suddenly there were like reviews of all this other stuff that you might like, and I was like, this is amazing. Getting into like Drive Through Records, I'd already discovered like Fat Records and Epitaph and uh, Victory to an extent, and I think Tooth and Nail came a little bit later. But that's where the internet's good. That's a total tangent. I'm thinking of like where else in pop culture has it shown like that was good. Now it's because people could share opinions instead, like positive opinions, rather than just dogging and on everything and saying this is crap. Oh, you like AEW? You're an idiot. Oh, you like WWE? You're not a real fan. I'm like, cool, man. Whatever.
I never got it. Like all the wrestlers I interview, like even if they're for different companies here in the UK, it's like they're all talk to each other. They all go to the other companies and have fun and do the shows. And it's like, why are fans so tribal?
It's not just fans. It's not just fans. But yeah, like the fans are the majority of it. They can be. To be fair, I've never encountered it in real life. I've only seen it on. Maybe that's the case for it. I've only seen it online, and maybe that's like where people feel safe and they can go, little keyboard warriors. But in real life, most people that I've spoken to about it have always been like, "Hey, you like wrestling? Cool, because you're one of us." Because we're not we're not mainstream by any means right now. It's a small pocket still. Like I'm the only one out of my. Well, no, my friend group's got wider, but for like, God, 15, 20 years, I would have said that I was the only one in my friend group that kind of liked wrestling, and some were like actively. In fact, they're still like, they've come to a couple of shows and I've just gone, dude, sorry, it's not for me. And I'm like, you know what? Fair play, you came, but I have converted a couple, and that's where I was like, yeah, that's
marketing
the
charm, man. Well done for you. The way I've always described wrestling ways that you can have. It's like a pick and mix. You can get so many selections of things. You want to watch a wee bit of death matching or extreme kind of match or stuff like that. You can have that in there, and then you can enjoy it because it's a pick and mix. You can pick and walk into your wee little bag, and then you'll be charged like $250 for it. I mean, okay, fair enough. But hey, just shows that we can all truly love this. Now, obviously, mentioning like the big companies as well, but obviously, when I learned about kind of like independent wrestling and stuff outside my very door, it was kind of fascinating. From yourself, my friend, when you learned about other companies like kind of out your back door, was that kind of like a wow, wrestling's close to me?
Dude, it was bizarre. It was bizarre, and I'll admit that I lapsed for a long time, kind of dipped in and out. But when I say dip in and out, it was like the odd WrestleMania, like that. That's what I mean for years. So it was, I want to say 2019. Like it wasn't no 2018. No, 2019. No, it was 2019. It really wasn't that long ago. Where my first show, like independent to even find out that something was near me, was Discovery, and it was the show where Joe Hendry became champion against Joe Coffey. I've forgotten what year anniversary that was. I want to say that was year 4 or year 5.
No.
I can't remember. I can't remember which one it was, but it was awesome. Like, and how that came about was a friend of mine just had a ticket and was like, Jamie, like, yeah, my name's Jamie, Manoval, Jamie. Jamie, do you want to come along? And this could be up your street. It's pretty alternative. It's off the beaten path. And you know what? It's in the center of Edinburgh. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like a good time. Let's wait, good time.
Yeah.
So let's go. And went along, and I was like, oh my, like, this is awesome. Like, within, I don't want to say like the show warmed me up to it. It was within like the first match where I was like, I had a drink in my hand. The crowd around me was going nuts for this. It was like, I don't want to say like playing their role, but it was done with so much conviction that I was like, hell yes. Yeah, you know what? I'll buy in. I will make sure, like, if you want me to boo you, I will boo you. If you want me to cheer for you, I'll make sure I'm your biggest fan. Like, that's what you want. I'll buy in. I'll be that guy. And by the end of it, I was like, this is awesome. What else is out there? Like, and that was the first one. That was the only one I'd heard of. And then suddenly was hearing about stuff down in Newcastle, what was going on in London, what was going, like, even just in Glasgow. I'd like just to find out that there was like two or three, well, say 2 or 3. There was some bigger ones. Like, I'll be honest, I didn't hear of ICW until that time. Like, it just wasn't even on my radar. And suddenly when I found out about it, that was when I was like, wait a minute, I want to get involved in this. This is something that I could definitely sink my teeth into. And I am someone that would, once they kind of get an idea in their head, it's really hard to shake it out. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to commit. This is what I'm going to do.
Well, my friend, you've obviously committed indeed. But before we touch upon the creation of Mr. Manoval, I want to touch upon wrestling as a medium. I think with wrestling as well, and its audience, it's one of the most engaging forms of media. If you look at something like cinemas and all that, you're in there for maybe 3 hours and you get to watch a film. Maybe there's a few bits of cheering and all that, but not much. And then you go to like something like the panto in the theater, a lot of audience engagement and good stuff there. But with wrestling, like the performance can come to you. They can come into the crowd, into the ring, and fans could get really riled up and engaged and feel that true passionate feeling. You look at someone like GCW, their fans are like, Jesus Christ, like go from 0 to 1,000 in the blink of a minute. From yourself, Jimmy, do you feel like wrestling is a medium, like nothing at all, like no other medium can really touch it?
I genuinely believe that, actually, and there's a reason for it. It's because it can touch on so many other mediums as well that can bring it in. And there are elements that I love. Like, so a bit of background on me is that I used to be an actor. I went to drama school and was uh, very fortunate to be, I say, successful. I made a living off being an actor for 4 years. And like, people say, what do you mean by making a living? I mean, like, paying your rent, paying your car, paying your bills, traveling, holiday, all the rest of it. Cool. You know, job's a good one. That was good for me until it's like, actually, this lifestyle's not for me anymore. Blah. But there's overlaps within that. So, for example, in theatre, when you're up on that stage, you have that shot in front of the crowd and what you're in front of the crowd, in front of the audience, and all of that, and you're doing it. And I'm familiar with that. But the one thing that I wasn't familiar with and that I respect so much in wrestling that it is like no other is you get your one shot. You have that. There, like, you are fortunate if there's any even like if there is a rehearsal, cool. You're lucky. You'll talk it over on what's going down. But it's only the execution is only as good as you and the other person you're working with that understands it and can go like, okay, we both got the same vision. We can do this. Now, from an acting background for film, take after take after take after take, and you're doing it until you're sick of it. Theatre, you're rehearsing for 3-4 weeks, and then you're off. A wrestling show, you're meeting the guy. Hey, what's going on? What do you want to do tonight? Some people say, "Well, call it," and I'll go, "Sound." I mean, as a manager, cool. I'll feel the crowd, and we'll work it that way. I don't know any other medium that is willing to do that with such high stakes. Because you can say that. People might do that with like people get scared of public speaking. I imagine you got to go up and you got to say something. And people are like, oh, oh no, I'm so scared. I don't know what to say. Now add on. It's just like in a typical indie show, a match is going to be for most wrestlers going to be probably around the 8 minute mark. They might get lucky with that. You've now got to do your your bumps and all the rest of it, your spots. You've got to remember what that is. You've got to do it with conviction. You've got to all that, but you've never done it before, other than with like you'll have maybe done the same similar things in different matches, and you can kind of feel for what that is. But in that moment, you were doing it for the first time with that person in front of that crowd. It's insane. Like it's actually insane when you put that to someone of going like you're going to go out there. Do you know what you're doing? Don't know. Like even to my wife, when we were going to disco last Friday, and she was like, "Do you know what you're doing?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "Really?" I was like, "No, I know that we're this is happening, but no, I don't know what we're doing. But it's going to be good though." And she's like, "How do you know it's going to be good?" I was like, "Because I trust the people that I'm with, and everyone's there to put on the best thing ever. If I doubt, like, maybe this person's good." And so far, I've not had that experience. I've spoken to others where it's like, yeah, their head's not maybe in the game for this show because they've got maybe a bigger one coming up or whatever it is. Either for whatever reason, we didn't have that, and that makes it pretty engaging for me. That makes it really engaging with that context around like what I'm seeing is happening. Like there is no cut, try again. There isn't, oh, can we try that again, please? No. If you're gonna do a moonsault off the top rope, cool. Like do it, make it mean something, perform it well. These guys are like not even just like the TV, like guys on TV or girls on TV. It's even people like I train with. Some of the stuff that they're doing, I'm just like, this is it. This is I didn't know people could do that, and they're doing it in front of me, and it's like I find that there's a physical thing that I'm engaged with. There's the emotional part because if you can get a performer that can put that physicality but do that conviction with their words and like tell the stories as well, like I genuinely there's very little I think that is more powerful. To me, it's combining the stuff that I love, which is like the competition in sport with theater.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh my, like, and then I haven't even touched on the music side that I'm very passionate about. Like Joe Hendry does it very well, and so that's again that's an example where I'm like, it's bringing in all these mediums together. That I'm like, this is class. Like, there's no boundaries to this. You can make it as weird and wonderful as you want.
Okay, true harmony indeed, my friend. Now I got to ask as well, Jamie, what events led to the creation of Mr. Manoval? I gotta know.
Mm. Uh, a lot of failures. A lot of failures. It was in lockdown. It was as they all were. It was actually a bit of a blessing. Not a blessing. It wasn't a blessing at all. It was pretty horrible. But what it did do is like I started training about five weeks before lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
So started with Joe and the rest of the guys there, and was absolutely loving it. I was like, this is one of the best things I've done. I'm ridiculous that I've waited this. Like, wish I'd known about it. Just wish I'd known. And as soon as I did know, get onto it. Pandemic hits, and credit to Dave and Joe and the rest of the guys there who said, right, we're going to make the best of this situation, and we're going to go deep into these characters. We're going to keep working out. We're going to keep doing X, Y, and Z, and keep this going. And Joe offered his time to say, right, each Sunday, whatever it is, talk to me for an hour about your ideas, where you want this to go. We'll go over vignettes, we'll go over promos, we'll go over like where you think influences could come from, where I think things could work with you, all the rest of that. And I sent, I must have, like, well, we all know how long the pandemic went on for. I must have sent him 4 or 5 things each week, like one a day, just like bam, 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 bam. This is what we're doing. This is it. And he would tell me, hey, that was cool. Or, nah, that stunk. Don't do it again. That didn't work. Here's why it didn't work. This is where like other things, or sometimes it was like, good idea, bad execution. Think how you would do that differently. And I was like, right, okay. And then one of the things came up to me was like, look, you're taking all these things, but take you and bring it up. Like, what are all those things? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna dive into almost teenage Jamie, and what was like dial the things up that people used to like not make fun of you for, and all that. Like some people were accepting of it, but some people say, oh, it's just a phase or anything like that, because there was always, or at least in my school growing up, there was, are you cool enough? Are you punk enough? What's emo? All like just nonsense stuff like that. And I was like, I don't care. Like, yeah, I like bands that wear black. Does that make me a goth? I don't think so. But I like all these, like, quite a wide array of, like, quite happy, genuinely quite happily listening to Taylor Swift, all the way to I'm gonna listen to like Cannibal Corpse and I'm gonna have an equally good time. Like that's where we're at. And so I was like, right, I'm gonna take all these things that I enjoy and build it into one. And so I pitched this idea of a mixture of Saul Goodman from Breaking Bad and Gomez from the Addams Family. So I was like, what if we had like this like so like Bob Odenkirk to me is like one, a fantastic actor, but also superb at making you feel sorry for like a really weaselly, at least from my perspective, for a really weaselly, like total scumbag. Even when he's doing something absolutely horrific, you might go, "Oh, I can kind of see where he's coming from," and I was like, I quite like that. I want that almost like slightly sorry for him, or can see where he's coming from, but he's a total dick. Sorry, are we allowed to swear?
It's a Scottish show, mate. We're always allowed
Right,
to
okay,
swear.
cool. Sorry, I was like, so he's a total dick. Let's do that. And then Gomez, where I was like, I like I like it being flamboyant. I like it being quite camp. I like the cheekiness of it, but I also like the playful darkness. That's why I was like, okay, let's bring that in because that feels quite natural for me in terms of like humor and what I'm naturally drawn to. And then I want to mix. I was like, and then how do we bring that into wrestling? I was like, to me, the best of all time is Paul Heyman, like hands down. I'd like people go, but what Bob are they bringing in? I'm like, strong, Paul Heyman. So, and I just like, yeah, he's that guy. I was like, right, okay, I need to bring him in. And in terms of word smithery, I quite like Adam Duritz from Counting Crows. So, again, a totally different. Those were the four main influences where I was like, right, okay, how am I going to bring these all in? What songs am I going to be influenced by? What films do I? I'm going to say songs. I mean, like, what do I want him to feel like? If I was to like, what's the vibe? What's the have you like have you ever like created a mood board or anything like that?
I kind of am familiar, yes.
So mood boards, yeah, that's like I have like a visual mood board and I have like a color mood board. I have like an audio one. So like I'm always like, what's the brand? What should he feel like? And like for some of those songs, tonally or like what he believes in himself is I Won't Back Down by Tom Petty. And it's like, you can line me up at the gates of hell, but I won't back down. And that's to show like his sort of fiery side and that determination. Bat Out of Hell by Meatloaf because of that like he's got to be high energy, all the rest of that. A Forest, if you know that song by The Cure, it's a little bit atmospheric, a bit eerie, all the rest of that. And I was like, digging that. I'm going to use, if anyone ever watches my like promos online or anything, you might hear there's similar tracks playing in the background. It's just because I've listened to The Cure and ripped them off. That's pretty much all I've done. I've just recorded bits from like, that sounds like The Cure. That'll do. Boom. I'm going to use it. What was the other ones I had in my head? There was Fall Children by AFI for the dynamic changes there, and I've forgotten what the other one was. It was like maybe like a 50s bebop track where it was a bit more swing, and I'm like, yeah, that's it. Uh, Bringing all these together and workshopping with Joe, sending promos, looking at different things, how he comes across on camera, different outfits, all of that to try and arrive at what essentially was then the fight. What back then was like version 1, which was like a blue suit, blue eyeliner, all the rest of that, like quite colorful, quite Miami Vice. That was what was like I thought that took the Saul Goodman type, and I was like, well, Gomez Adams wears like a pinstripe thing, and that's quite cool. I've got a different shirt that can look like that because I don't want it to be like an exact replica of it. I want it to be its own thing.
Mhm.
And yeah, I want to say there was quite a fair bit of thought went into it, but it's because I'll be honest, and maybe it's not cool to do so. I really cared. Like I really cared about like how this came across, what anybody else in like I don't want to say like in Scotland, but like what is the industry doing, and is anybody doing a character like that? And the answer was thankfully no. But I was like, right, okay, I've got to kind of capitalize on this, and the only way to do that is to start putting stuff out so that people associate that with you, and that's kind of the long and short of it. If you want the summary, it's spoke to Joe for many hours and came out with this by February of 2021.
Hey, fair play indeed, my friend, as well. But obviously, before we continue on with the good times, you are a music man as well. I know you've also created a few tracks as well because you created your own entrance stream. The Welcome to the Good Times as well. I mean, that just shows you're multi-talent. You're like a Swiss Army knife, bro. You can just do everything you can. Create a character, create a nice theme as well. When you're, creating a wrestling theme, it's very interesting as well because I feel like with a wrestling theme, it should obviously convey what the character is, what their feelings are as well. But you get some wrestling themes that are just like a 30-second loop of a tune, or you can get something that's like a song you can listen to at a house party in the flats when it's 2 a.m. You've got a bottle of Bucky or something like that. That's what you want to have. From yourself, Jimmy, with wrestling music, I feel like it's got to be very integral to the character, correct?
100%. Yeah. Yes. And there's other aspects to it, or at least for me, which was what do you do? What does your entrance look like? And at that point, some people, it can come vice versa. Like they will think of their entrance first and then find music to accompany that, or they'll find music and go, I'll choreograph something to that. And for me, I wrote the music. I had an idea of what I wanted to do, which was selfishly, right? There's a little bit of I don't know how to describe it other than trying to play the game a little bit of how can I make sure that I get mic time every time? Because I was like, what's going to be the thing that people are going to remember? What does everyone do? Everyone's going to come out there. They're going to get to the stage. They're going to raise their hand. They're going to go to top rope, 2 hands up. Like people are doing that. I was like, got you. I was like, I want to be able to stand out there and have a reaction before. So the coming out before the music starts is absolutely intentional. That's what I wanted. Like, where did I get that from? I stole it from Dolph Ziggler. Do you remember that very short period of time where he walked out to no music?
Yeah.
So I saw that and was like, that. I love it. Pardon me. And I want to get the mic time. I was like, I need the music to give me the space for my voice to be there. And I was like, I can write something for every show that's got like, I don't want to say set pieces, but points that I need to hit that can be in the intro each time. That can be in the like. If anyone wants to go and listen to it, you'll notice that there's some gaps of like da-da space, da-da space, intentional. That's where my voice covers it live. So that's what I make sure that I have the mic time every time in our entrance. That gives me a minute. If I'm lucky, they'll give me the full minute. If I only get the 30 seconds, sound. I've already got it. They've heard my voice. They've got the vibe of it. They've got the intro. Done. And there are some people that just don't even get like a second of mic time, even though they're going for it. I'm like, well, I need to make sure that I get that because if I'm going to be a manager, I've got to make sure. And so that's where I came to it from, and then wrote it around the rest of that.
Hey, it works out indeed, my friend, because it is, I would personally say, a certified banger indeed as well. But I want to know as well, given your musical expertise, your mindset, I wanted to go racing just now. I want you to pick your top 5 wrestling entrance themes.
Okay, first of all, number one is Ass Man. Like,
Fair enough. Okay, cool.
and just so that you know, like, if people are wondering how did he do that so quickly, we haven't discussed this before. I've just literally heard this question just now, but genuinely, the first one is Ass Man. Like, that is
I was fully expecting you to say X Factor or something like that, and I was like, okay, right.
no, like that's good, but nah, nah, because the thing is that I'm not like, yeah, no, that's not for me. So one, Ass Man, I love that. Two, for its creativity, is Mankind, because he had a at his very beginning 2 different themes. One for when he came to the ring, and one for when he left the ring. The one that he left the ring when he won was like light classical, and the way that he described it was because his character had all this like physical, mental anguish and pain, and that after the match he was released of that pain because he'd inflicted it on others. So the music reflected that as he left, and I was like, that is awesome. So, Ass Man, number 2, Mankind. Number 3. Oh, also sorry, with Mankind as well. I also liked like the car crash and all the like at the beginning and all that. Like that was fun. But OG Mankind, that was the one I liked. Number 3. I don't know if it's a cheating to do it, but I've like is saying like Edge's like metal ink. I don't know how you even pronounce it, but it's the Alter Bridge song.
Oh, old Metalingus,
Yeah,
aye.
Metalingus. Sorry, that's it. Man, like as much as I'm like, I feel like that's a cop out because it's just an Alter Bridge song. It's so good. Like it, like I have to whenever he comes out, I'm like, yes, like psyched, absolutely amazing. I think that's cool. Um, Again, might be a little bit mainstream, but I genuinely love the Motorhead version of the game for Triple H. Like Metalhead here, so the fact they had Motorhead doing it and Lemmy, like it sound like I think that's cool. I think that's super cool. And number five. Who do I like recently? I've given a lot of like older people. Recently, there's three that I love actually. I'll tell you the 3 that I'd pick between
Go.
actually is one because I love ska as well. I think Sami Zayn's entrance is
Oh,
like I do enjoy that. I think that's good. I've always thought like Finn Balor, like his entrance theme was like
yeah.
stunning, like genuinely stunning. I thought I was like crazy, like good riff, like Shinsuke Nakamura's one. I was like, that's cool as well. But Kevin Owens, it might not
Oh,
seem, but I really like listening to it, that and then it panning across, and then when it hits, I'm just like, and there's like this droning bit in the background that like I'm a fan of that. I'm a fan of like music that's got like that note in the background that's like, no, we're just gonna drone this out the whole song. That like a Deftonesy type thing, even though they don't sound like his music's definitely not Deftones. I am gonna go no Finn Balor. Finn Balor. That yeah, no, the Finn Balor. So I've forgotten what I've said. I said Ass Man because that's
thanks,
awesome.
man.
Mankind. What did I say for number 3?
Metalingus.
Metalings. Oh yeah, no, yeah, banger. Yeah, that deserves number 3. Um, Number 4. I've totally forgotten what I just said.
My mind, I think my age is showing here.
I've totally forgotten. For number 4. Do I have to think of another one? I'll just put it. I'll put Finn Balor followed by if I haven't said it already as well. I thought like going back to like childhood, I loved like The Brood and like Kane's original music and all that stuff, and
No.
even like I loved eh like Brit Hitman Heart's music. To be honest, I love that like that pick scrape and all the rest of that down. That kind of does it for me. Oh, there's so many. And there's some really good ones now about as well. I think Carrying Crosses. Carrying Cross's entrance, not so much his music. Sorry, just totally bury that guy straight away.
I do like his music as well, but that when he came out with the Gladiator gimp suit on Raw, I was kind of like,
Oh, yeah, that was pretty poor. That was, you know what? That was the shame for him. But no, fair play to him because he took it, he did it. They fired him, came back, and they were like, "Yeah, that was totally dumb." Like this guy.
I really loved what he was doing as well. I thought he was so unique as well. Like,
yeah, and he's like, from what I hear from other people, it sounds like he's actually like a totally sound guy as well, like a really level-headed and like not an ego about him, just does what he needs to do. And I'm like, fair play, you're making it work. But yeah, top 5. I've totally forgotten what number 4 is, but yeah.
I think was it not Motorhead? Triple H.
Motorhead, Lemmy, yeah, the game. For sure. Oh yeah, no, I totally stick by what I said. Those are all awesome.
He sticks by his choices.
Like genuinely, I would listen to them on like anyway. Like I would totally put that on. Like the Lemmy one, I'm like, this is ace.
Hey, I happily put it on right now, but the copyright system would kick my ass to the curb. So
Yeah, they would demonetize this immediately. Yep.
Getting no. My 1 penny ad revenue's gone down to 0. Excellent. But finally, before we leave the world of music, I want to pose one final question to you, Jamie.
Mm-hmm.
As a wrestler, which wrestler you feel had a great theme, but then immediately went to a downgrade of a theme?
A theme and then a downgrade.
So they had a really amazing theme, but then it was changed and it was worse.
Oh, actually, yeah, Shinsuke.
Oh yeah, when he had that.
Yeah, he did the violin, and then they took it away because they didn't want people to sing along with it, and it was, I mean, admittedly, it did exactly what it was supposed to do, which was make people. But it was like, yeah, this is a bit rubbish. So, like, not even close. And like the first one, like, I loved his debut with like the live violin player when they came out. I can't remember what that was. I think it was maybe a SmackDown or something. But and when you took that away, yeah, it was rubbish. Yeah, no, that's my thing. That's the most recent one where I was like, oh yeah, Shinsuke, this is crap. That's my answer.
Fair play indeed, my friend. Fair play indeed. Now, obviously, the good times as well. You know, you've got Robb Stow and Monstrum in your pocket as well, who we both had on the show, and they've talked about how they're so beneficial with your services. You've done so many great things to them. But I always wanted to know the story. How did you meet these two? What's the story behind that?
Oh, was Rob in our intake? Don't think he was. No. So this is I met Dan, Big Chess, on like the first day of our training together, and he was just so nice. Like, Monstrum's an absolute. I mean, he's a demon. Like, he's a big boy who can move. He shouldn't be as fast and nimble as he should be. Like, and when I say things like that, when people are saying, if you've ever gone to like a wrestling training where like you're doing your rolls, your tiger rolls, and all the rest of that, and you know, if you're in the ring, you're trying to be as quiet as possible. If you're like all in the ring, everyone's like, nah, not quite. But he's a cat. He's just unbelievable. I'm gonna keep putting him over, but yeah, he's my boy. I met Rob also on the first day, but I think he was there a little while before me. I think he was there for about 3 months before, and yeah, we did we chat much? I think we did. I think we chatted a little bit, and we found that we had like mutual like music tastes, film tastes, and relative geekiness. And like, hey, we're into the same stuff. But he was also like your wrestler's wrestler. Like when he did stuff, everyone was like, "Oh, Rob, yeah, just Rob's done it right. Hey guys, we're gonna work on this. Rob, can you help show me this?" He's the guy who's getting asked to do that. And I was like, yeah, liked Rob. And then the opportunity to like work together. It was originally just going to be like Dan and I just doing our thing, and we were workshopping stuff, and it was going to be great. And then the opportunity came for like some tag stuff, and look, I'm not going to be about the bush. We just like Rob. we like Rob, and we're like, hey, you know what'd be cool? Is if we three got to like hang out and have a good time together. So that's where it came about. But that's we met on the first day of training, or at least I met Dan the first day of training, and I definitely spoke to him. I don't like there was when I'm saying like did I speak to Rob, it's because there was like 22, 25 of us, I think, in that room at the same time. And so I don't think I got to speak to him one on one, but I definitely remember having to do like I think a promo thing with him. If I remember correctly, it was like we got tasked with I think we had to set up a match of me versus Brock Lesnar, and they had to like make me feel like I was gonna win, and Rob had to do this with me, and it got some laughs because clearly, if anyone sees my size, I'm not kicking anybody's ass. Like it's not happening. But so that's how it came about with Rob, Dan, and I.
Hey, a true union, because you guys have been quite a union in disco as well. You know, you did the disco derby where Rob, kind of got screwed by old Kayla Valhalla. And you were there at the ringside, and then recently, in their Friday show, was it last week? No, time's all flying by now.
Yeah, it was last Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, God, wow, time's flying fast. Like it was you guys against, Caleb and Aspen as well. Obviously, led to a bit of a DQ situation. I mean, who knows what the future is? But I mean, is it kind of hard, like obviously as a role of a manager, to like stick out? When so much action is going outside in the ring. You're kind of outside, and you could do a little bit of interference. Is it kind of a challenge, or do you feel like it's a nice, easy role that some people, don't really benefit from? Because there's not a lot of managers in our day and age.
No, there's not, and I don't. So one, I don't think it's an easy role. The reason for that is because you've got to know when it's your time and when it's not your time, when to be vocal, when not to be vocal. It's choosing your moments, picking your moments. John Cena has the famous phrase of, it's not my night." Like that when he's putting someone on, it's like this isn't about me. There are going to be, hopefully, there already have been plenty times when it's been about Manoval and it's been about like the good times. But the whole point of Manoval, as the purpose of why he exists, is to put over his clients, is to put over what's going on in that ring at that time. And training, experience, all of that has kind of hopefully given me some natural ability to go, when let the action in the ring speak for itself. Do not detract from that, because they're in there genuinely putting their lives at risk. It's in some cases. I don't want to be detracting from that, from me having like a quip or playing with the crowd or whatever I'm doing there. That's where I come from with it. So is it hard to stand out? Right now, less so, if I'm honest, because there's not many. Like that's the honest truth of it. There's not much competition of people who just want to be managers. So cool. I can stand out that way. Where I care about standing out more is if I've done a good job. And I can stand out that way by showing that it's not about me. It's not my ego is not going to be a part of this. I care about the overall product as a whole, and I care about putting over the guys that are in the ring. And as long as I keep doing that and do a good job of that, long may it continue, because they're going to keep going, hey, Manoval's an asset to this team, and we want him. And one of the things I hopefully am quite good at and can help with promotions is that storytelling aspect of a reason to come back to the next show, or like come back to the next show, or why to come to the show that's upcoming. All the rest of that, whether that's the promos, what we're doing in the ring, like what's not being done, is also quite important, because you don't want to. I mean, we've had quite the feud with Caleb and Aspen over three disco shows actually, with the Derby, with Livingston, with Party and Porty. Who knows what's going to happen, but I do know that we've got a lot left in the tank about what we could do. I don't want to give it away, but
Oh, no. We all need the secrets here. You need to entice to go to these shows. If I was just to have every secret blurred out in the Soul Sessions, my subscriber would be like 600,000, and I would be having very fat pockets right now. But that is not the case at the moment as well. But I mean, I definitely can see in the future the good times as Discovery Wrestling Tag Team Champions, and you doing a wee Paul Heyman with the belts
As they
over your
should be.
shoulder. Yeah.
I'd be lying if I didn't say that wasn't like the goal. Like, why would we be there in the first place? Here's the thing about the good times, right? Is that I choose who's part of it, and I make it it's basically like a badge of quality, a stamp of approval. That if you've been part of the who's been part of the good times so far? There's been 4: Joe Hendry, Robb Stow, Monstrum, and Judas Grey. Actually, latest edition is the Par in PWR. All the rest of that there. So you've got the former Y Division champion, former Impact Digital Media champion, and also just the accolades that come with Joe.
Mhm.
We've got 5 of genuinely some of the most talked about up and comers in Scotland and the UK, I would say. And I'm like, yeah, and it's because I say, guys, let's make this a thing. If I say let's do it together, it's not because I think it's going to be beneficial to me, but it's because I believe in you and I think you're the best. And if you're not part of it, then you kind of know where I think of you. So
it is. I mean, you can have all those accolades and just the wee tiny lid, in fine print, all appeared on the Soul Sessions as well. Like there's the little
hey,
tiny accolade as
that's
well.
it. And they're my boys. They're my boys. The Par are relatively recent, but have we've gelled quite well because I think there's fair to say there's a little bit of age difference there, and there's a little bit of life experience that is different between me and with Robin Ross. But what I've got in experience, I would say they've got in drive and hunger because they're young enough and they're willing to take the risks. It's I'm going to go out there and I'm going to give it. I don't want to say 100 terms, but they're going to go balls to the wall, full throttle, and I'm like, yeah, respect to that, and we'll get the job done. I'm like, yes, you will, because I've told you need to. So yeah, the good times is in a healthy place, and its legacy, I think, speaks for itself. Because you look at that and you go, where's the weak link? And there's not one. In fact, people go like, wait a minute, how do I get a part of that? Because if you want to raise your stakes in any company, then being part of the good times is a pretty good way to go about it.
Oh, absolutely, indeed. And also, I want to talk about the Par as well because I had them on originally to talk about the Truth or Dare show, and it's like, oh, you'll be doing something there. And I was in the crowd at the show, and then they attacked, and I saw the clubs. I was like, oh, that's the Par. And then I saw you come out with your wee little white fedora, nice wee vest, and I was like, shit, that's Robin Monstrum's boy. And I was like, what's going on here? And then that new union, I was like, oh, this is going to be absolutely banging. And now, obviously, with the Pro Wrestling Ready show at Christmas, the Par versus Meat Factory again, having the Par now in your circle of trust. I mean, why initially going for the Par? Was it just an opportunity that came up, or have you been watching them and thought these guys will be good?
So Andy first approached me saying, hey, you can see what's here. What do you think? Who needs it? Who wants it? And I was like, well, tell you what, it doesn't matter what anybody wants or needs. It's who I think is worthy of this because, as I say, I've already at this point had 3 pretty. I've got a very strong client list so far. Okay, Joe's out. Good riddance. No longer a champion. Who cares? So, but then looking at the roster and seeing some people are doing well themselves, and some people have had opportunities there that I didn't think what they had quite deserved, and I'd seen that. Here's the thing: when people aren't rewarded for putting in their best effort, and they're playing the game, they're doing what they're told when they're told to do it. Andy's saying, "Hey guys, arrive at 5:30. I need you to do this, all the rest of that." And the Par turned up. They're first. They're the ones putting up the ring. They're the ones taking it down. They're the ones who are showing everybody the ropes. They're the ones who are doing. They are the leaders for that. And yet you've got 2 chumps like the Meat Factory getting put over And everyone's like, "Way meat," and I'm like, "Why? That's kind. To me, it's a little bit unworthy. It's a little bit childish. It's a little bit, I don't know, like they talk about going for the low hanging fruit. Like they're not exactly trying to do that. So I said, give me the par. Give me the par. Because I've been training with them. And genuinely, technically, I don't think that there is anybody in Scotland right now that could, from a technical wrestling point of view, that could outmatch Robbie, Ross, and Rob. Like looking them around and people saying what they're doing, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that anybody else is bad. They're just not as good. That's it. You're not bad. You're not terrible. You're not anything like that. You almost be like okay,
Mm-hmm.
but they're just not. They're not on that level. I was like, give them to me. We can elevate them there, and we can show everybody how good they are. But here's the thing: disobeying every order that you give stops. How about that? Your boys go up, they get noticed, but they don't have to listen to anything you say anymore. He was like, okay, we'll see how it goes. And then we got noticed. So, job done.
Signed and delivered, and you got what you want in the end. You love to see it, Manoval. But
And I
obviously, as
got some
well,
sweet new gear as well, so I was pleased.
oh, the new gear. As soon as we get the figures ready, it's going to be toyetic and it's going to be flying off the shelf. The pockets will be lined with that good old royalties. But obviously, as well, you got the power, kind of a tag team representation. Monstrum, Robb, and Judas, kind of a good singles competition. Obviously, Monstrum, massive lad, he'll dominate anywhere. But
Yeah.
I want to know, will there ever be maybe a female introduction to the good times? Is there anyone, any female wrestlers in the Scottish scene you think, man, you've got that little finger twitch in there thinking, I can turn them into something more?
There's a couple. There's a couple. Some I don't think need something more. I can choose you. I can bring you into the good times. Quite frankly, because I like you. Like that's part of it. It's our collective. Well, like if you're part of the good times, you are mostly set. I'll believe I can say we can be quite fickle, but on the whole, pretty loyal. If I was to say, there are two names that have been in the back of my mind for one for a long time, one for I'd say the last 18 months or so. Got a bit of a legacy for herself already. However, I think she fits the Good Times brand quite well. I think we could fit in terms of partnership. I would say the first name that I would give is Brody Adler. I think she would be a stunning addition. I can see her and Monstrum absolutely tearing apart any mixed tag match. And quite frankly, tell me a pairing that could take them down. I genuinely, I'd say like, hey, no, genuinely, you could come close, and you should be proud of that. Like, there's nothing wrong with silver, absolutely not. It's not gold, but there's nothing wrong with silver. So they would be happy with that. And the second is Emily Hayden.
Oh, okay.
I can see her adding a different flavor. I absolutely love her new moniker of the final girl and how she's approaching that, where she's taking that. And I also like people who've been champions, who either are champions or have been champions or are very much on their way to being a champion. I'm not really interested if you're fancy just happy to be there, because there's literally hundreds, if not thousands, in Scotland and the UK that are happy to be there. And I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Enjoy your pre-show. That's right, I'm burning pre-show. I jest. Yeah, no, Emily and Brody are the two that I would have said. There would have been a third. There
Oh,
would have been a third, and I'll be honest. I was pitching hard. She's not wrestling anymore,
oh.
but that's because she's too busy absolutely destroying it in strong women contests. Like genuinely is like I think she's the third strongest in the UK right now. Like
Jesus.
she's absolutely dominating, and yeah, basically saw her, was like, yes, please, absolutely. How do I make this happen? What do we need to do? And I don't want to say she's the one that got away, but I hope the strongman industry treats her very well, because in wrestling she would have been a star,
Right.
and there's still time. So she knows who she is. You can, for those that know, they know. For those that don't, I don't wanna pressure her to do she's doing what she loves. Brilliant, but there was always a place in the good times for her.
Hey, fair dues indeed. It feels like the good times can truly run amok, not only in Scotland, but the whole damn country, up north, down south. And
That's the plan. That is the plan.
I would love to see it, man. I will indeed. But I got to ask as well, say if an opportunity came for the good times and you could go to any UK company to wrestle and you get to be on that stage with that company, which company would you like to travel down and have a little bit of a good time with?
Oh, okay. There's two. I mean, technically three,
Oh, okay, okay.
but I mean, there's quite a few. There's lots, but I've got to think. If I think strategically, it's like who's got the largest platform, where can we get seen the most? I think there's an obvious answer there. However, from what I've heard about their shows and the quality of the product as a whole, and how receptive the fans would be, their location of their venue sounds incredible. That I think we could fit in very nicely there. It would be
Oh,
North in Newcastle. There, that would be one that I would enjoy. The thought of putting on bringing the good times to a brewery. I think we do go down quite well there. Uh, the second, if I was to say all three, I don't think they're in a particular order because they've all got like different flavors. Uh, Obviously, I'm not going to be about the bush here, but Progress would be
mm.
amazing. That'd be wonderful. That would genuinely be tip top. And the third, it's been a goal. Would be Wrestle Carnival,
Oh,
and
okay.
Gary Ward knows what he's doing. He obviously he knows people, all the rest of that. He's got connections with Joe and all of those things. But I like the. Why do I like it? It's because there's the blend of the pure technical wrestling there, which there's a place for, and I'm glad he's brought home to it because it should be showcased. Awesome. But then the blend of characters that go there. And I'm
Okay.
like, brilliant. And why? Because we would stand out. You can have your Emerson Jane, you can have your Chris Ridgway, Judas Grey can go down and will tear up right there like he did before. But you bring the good times down there, and that audience is seeing something that's not currently on the card, or at least not that flavor. I think we could give them, as you say, it's a pick and mix. It's that pick and mix. So it's a
Yeah.
different flavor for that 15, 20 minutes that they can go, oh, I wasn't expecting that. We can go, no. But were you entertained by the most entertaining manager in the Europe? And they go, yeah, I was. Job done. See you next time. So yeah,
All
those are
about
the three. It's
hey,
down in England anyway.
oh yes, of course. You know, the place where they've got the crap tap water and high prices of beer. It's
It
ten
really
fifty
is.
a pint. 10.50 a pint during all in still bugs me right now. I'm pretty sure my bank's still angry at me for that. I mean,
Oh, that is. And what kind of beer was it?
shit beer. It's like just shit. It's like a Camden IPA and crap like that. It was just stolen.
Oh man,
Wembley,
nah,
obviously.
that's not even okay. I thought if you're about to say like it's a Peroni or something, I'd be like, but if
Oh
it's just
God, I wish I already dropped 650 on the TNT replica title. I wasn't going to be spending more 1050 on beer. I was like, give me half pints.
I
I'm
was
taking the loss.
seeing them. I was seeing him in the back and I was admiring them. Is that an intercontinental title as well? And
It is indeed the old white strap as well,
love it.
and there's
Love it.
many fine other additions. I mean, if I was to bend forward down, you see the AEW replica behind me as well.
Amazing.
Yes, my bank account really does hate me indeed. Credit card loans bad for your health. But obviously, Manoval, speaking on AEW, Wembley next year, coming back as well. And I want to propose a dream scenario. Let's say Tony Khan comes to you, Manoval, and says, Manoval, I know you've got Monstrum, Judas, and Robb, and Apart. You can take your pick of any of the AEW roster. Each of the guys match them up with somebody to appear on that Wembley card. Who would you send who to pair up with and have a match?
Oh, this is great fun. Right. Okay. Let's start with singles, and let's start with Judas Grey.
Okay.
Who would actually? Oh my God! I've actually just Darby Allin. Darby Allin versus Judas Grey.
Oh.
Straight out of the gate. Straight out of the gate. I'd want something like why? Like you always need a strong opener. You need that strong opener, or like second half like opener there, and without a doubt, I know Judas would like put him in. If you know what, if you're listening to this, Judas, I'm also putting you in a ladder match. Your favorite ladder match: Darby Allin, Judas Grey. That's what I would. So that's the first one.
Okay.
The par. Let's start with the par. Who's completely different to them? I know who's completely different to them. The Acclaimed.
Oh.
The Acclaimed. That's what I'm thinking. They're like I'm thinking like the elites. Everyone's like, why haven't you put the elite? Like that's the obvious choice. That's the obvious one. But I would like to see. I like it when opposites come together and be like, why you two shouldn't be here. I know Darby Allin and Judas are very similar, but that's also where it kind of gets a bit exciting because they're both Judas is just nuts. So he'll take it. Yeah, the par versus the Acclaimed. Now, core good times, Monstrum and Robb. Who would have put Robb up against? Who would have put Robb up against? You know what? If I was to really be kind of, I've got two things going on in my head of what I personally enjoy and what I'd want to really do against like what's going to be the bigger match, like FTR would be awesome. I would want that, but you know what? There'd be two. I know he hasn't I was going back to Judas, but I was like, if it wasn't Darby Allin, I'd go Pac. If he would like bring him back and say like this, because like, and there's other things I'd want to mix and match. FTR would be awesome. I would also like to take on. Sorry, Brody, but I probably want House of Black with Malachi Black and I want to say Buddy Murphy, but he's not called Buddy Murphy anymore, is he? Buddy Matthews. That's it. Keep calling Murphy. I'd like a bit of that. I would like a House of Black versus the Good Times and like just go like I'd want to go full dark with it. Like just full dark, like proper like because there's other like why I like that is the extremes of like selfishly Manoval, like with the par, it's all white, it's all blah, and actually maybe that's where it goes. The Acclaimed are a lot more vocal, but then you've got two of us coming out in the mic. It's a bit samey. I still like the Acclaimed, and I think they've got a huge, like, genuinely, I think they're absolutely brilliant. And like, give them a few years, they're already almost at the top of the mountain, but I think they've still got more. That's the thing. I just see them. I'm like, these guys, like, they're going up there. Maybe they should take on the Good Times, and the par would be against House of Black, and then you've got that black versus white, and you've got the notch. Yeah, this is fun. Who would I go? Right, okay, definitely Judas Grey, Darby Allin. That's set. Cool. I'm gonna flip it. And I'm gonna go the Par versus House of Black.
Okay.
That'll be fun. Reason for that is Ross and Robbie can do their own high flying stuff, and I'm thinking House of Black are a little bit more like brawl and dark, and let's bring that white and black versus white, yin and yang, all of that together. That's fun. And then the Good Times. You know what? Let's just make it a fight. Like, let's go FTR. It would have to be FTR, because it's like, yeah, no flips, just fists. I forgot what their thing is. They want a fight. Monstrum's going to bring them a fight. Robb Stow, the backbreaker king. Like, yeah, he would. That's what I'm going with. That is what I'm going with. Darby Allin versus Judas Grey. House of Black versus the Par. FTR versus the Good Times.
God,
That would be what I'd go for.
And in the end of it would just be me and you sitting ringside with half pints because they're cheaper and just being like, yep, magic, beautiful. You'll love to see
A
it.
red wine for myself.
Fair dues indeed.
I say that. I don't know how much a bottle of wine would be at all in. Probably about 50, 60 quid. Like,
we'll put it on Disco's credit card or something. Save it.
Yes. Thanks, Alan. What a guy.
He's such a good guy. Hopefully he can auction us off in the raffle. We've not affected that. Let's keep that intact. But Manoval, my friend, it's an absolute pleasure having you here on the Soul Sessions. And now, viewers, if you want to follow the journey of the good times of Mr. Manoval, I will include the Instagram link to his Instagram. You can follow and see the journey, as well his amazing music. My personal favorite track, Rebels and Vampires. I will include a link to his Spotify as well. Nice. You can click that and listen to the tunes and have a good time indeed. Well, Manoval, my friend, thank you for appearing here, and I hope you have a lovely day. And viewers, I would say the whole YouTube shtick, but it's been around since 2005. I ain't gonna bother. You know what you're doing. I'm not gonna replicate that diarrhea. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in for another episode of the Soul Sessions.